Snake King, the game that you got free with your value meal at Burger King back in 2006?
It's a weird stealth game made early in the Xbox 360's life, and it's pretty weird to say the least.
Not only it's weird, but it's also not very good. But hey, you got it for free when you got a value meal. But this was not the first time Burger King got into games. In fact, not even close, there's like 2 more on the Xbox 360 and they're just as weird. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the one that people don't really talk about all too often. So that's also because it was exclusive to Spain. This is Burger King Whopper Chase. Released on basically every single home computer that was popular in Spain at the time, which was ZX Spectrum, Amstrad CPC, MSX, and the Commodore 64. For a game that you got free with a Whopper when you purchased this game back in 1987, this has a story. And, oh boy, it's quite a doozy. In fact, where did I put that? No, it's not there. Let's see. No, those are all my jeans and drawings. Ah, there we go. Right here. Get ready, folks. This is gonna be weird. The year is 2025. Thanks to hard work and dedication, Burger King Registered has created a Whopper Registered that you don't need to go get. It'll come to you. Of course, others want a Whopper Registered and some ingredients. Want to be extra on a Whopper Registered. But there is a hungry patron waiting, so you must soldier on. In this game, you're the Whopper Registered. You must make your way right past all obstacles to get to the hungry patron. Along the way, you must also gather parts to the Burger King logo Registered, so the patron knows you're a real Whopper Registered and not a knockoff. You must kill or avoid tomatoes and pickles that want to be on you, and dogs, slingshot kids, and kitchen brutes that want to eat you. You can shoot shots of ketchup, at these beings, but beware as the slingshot kid and the kitchen brute can shoot/throw knives. You play as the Whopper, of course, and you must shoot ketchup at things and collect the Burger King logo pieces that just... After that, you go to the next section and do the same thing. Oh, and this is what happens if you try to touch the piece of the Burger King logo, by the way. This is probably a bug, and it only happens in the Commodore 64 version, because the other versions, the Spectrum, Amstrad, and MSX versions, do not have this bug. The Spectrum version is exactly the same as the C64 version, but with less colors, but a little bit more detailed graphics, compared to the C64 version, which kinda looks like an Atari 2600 game, but at least it looks better than the Legend of Kage for C64. Oh, but the Spectrum version isn't much better either, by the way. This is, of course, the original version, and the shots thrown by the slingshot kid and the kitchen brute is kinda hard to dodge, not only because of the limited colors of the Spectrum, but also because they're a bit too fast. At least for my liking. Okay, I know I've been making jokes throughout this entire video, but I just need to get this one out of the way. Obviously, can't really be too harsh to this game because it's a promotional game. Why bother?
But here's the main problem about this game. The jumping is pretty short. You can just barely jump over the shots and knives that the Kitchen Brute and the Slingshot Kid shoot. What doesn't help matters is that some of the enemies jump, as in they jump sporadically, sometimes even the same time as you do. So therefore, that makes it even worse than it already is. But given how Burger King only gave the developers a week to make the game, it's kind of understandable that there's quite a bit of rushed programming in this game. Especially with the enemies, it's the Slingshot Kid and the Kitchen Brute, as they follow the same path and even the same direction as you sometimes, even if they're not close to you.
You can also see it here in the Amstrad CPC version. Obviously, it's a Spectrum port, but it's a tad bit slower and also has some really nice graphics to make up for it. And also, for some reason, when you jump, even if you're not facing the direction you're jumping at, you go in an arc. Thankfully, it's not too far, but it can kind of throw you off a little bit at times. Though it does make it a little bit easier to jump over the shots that the Kitchen Brute and the Slingshot Kid throw at you. At least when you're using the keyboard. With the joystick, it's weird. Also, this version has in-game music, which the music in this game actually isn't that bad in all versions. It's not great, but it sounds pretty good. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you a lot of footage from these versions because, one, the ZX Spectrum version, for some reason I couldn't get the joystick controls to work properly, so I had to use the keyboard. And because it's a ZX Spectrum game, you're forced to use QAOP and there's no way to redefine the controls. When I play games like that, I usually use ZXKM. And yeah, I couldn't really get too far in that one. And for some reason, it takes forever to get the Burger King logo pieces in the Amstrad version. Oh, and by the way, the version I'm playing crashes. Yeah, great stuff, isn't it? So, because of the repetitiveness of this game and the fact that the projectiles are just extremely unfair, I cheated. Yes, this is the first review I've ever did, and already, I cheated. Yeah, great work, Dadork. You are an amazing person, aren't you? Oh, and shoutouts to the MSX version. It isn't actually all that much of a Spectrum port. There's actually some differences to the graphics and gameplay. And believe it or not, they actually made it run pretty well. Almost on par to the Spectrum version. It's kind of weird how a budget game runs better than full-priced arcade conversions, which usually run like ass. Some of them so lazy didn't even bother to put in actual joystick support for some of their games, including this version of Gemini Wing, which somehow forgot to take the Sinclair and Kempston options off the main menu. And no, I'm not kidding. This actually happened. Okay, enough of that, let's get into this one. In 2006, cracking group Hotoko Force released an English translation of the game alongside with some cracking cheats. So therefore, I was able to show you the ending of this game. Normally games like this would just boot you back to the main menu or the beginning of the game, but at least they gave you a congratulations screen, so at least it's something. And thus, this is the end of the review for Burger King Whopper Chase. Surprisingly, it's not all that bad for a budget title. It's not great, of course, there's a lot of problems with it, though that's mostly due to its rushed programming. And for a game made in 1 week, it's actually not the worst thing in the whole world. While it might not be the first fast food tie-in game, that goes to Mr. Wimpy made by Ocean Software. This is one of the first that is based off of a more popular fast food chain. And even though it may not be great, I think people should play this just for the curiosity alone. It's very interesting.